Teachers in New South Wales will walk off the job today, striking over staff shortages and better pay. Joining us live now is the New South Wales Teachers Federation President, Angelo Gavrielatos. Angelo, thanks for your time this morning. So the Industrial Relations Commission calls it illegal while negotiations are underway. So why proceed?
Well, good morning, Peter. How are you? The teacher shortages are just too large, and the underlying causes, uncompetitive salaries and unsustainable workloads, too great for this protest action not to proceed. We are suffering significant teacher shortages across New South Wales, which are set to grow, and the government is now in a state of denial over the teacher shortages and indeed the cause of those teacher shortages. There's hundreds of pages of internal documents, secret briefings from the department to the minister and the government that were revealed 2 months ago that show how deep this problem is and what the causes are. What we're seeking from the government is to act on its own advice which says, one of the pieces of documents describe the situation so serious as, we will run out of teachers in 5 years. The government cannot ignore its own advice.
How many teachers did you lose from those who decided not to get vaxxed?
I don't know what the final figure is. I think it's somewhere hovering around the 500 mark. But this is a much deeper issue. This is a structural issue.
That would have been helpful.
But this is a structural issue. I know what you're saying, Peter. This is a structural issue. We're facing a perfect storm. We've got an ageing teaching service, a massive increase in student enrolments over the next 20 years, 200,000 additional students. And on top of that, a 30% decline in the number of people entering teacher education. This is a perfect storm, noting that we will need 11,000 additional teachers in the next 10 years. The government knows the cause of the problem and therefore, by definition, the solutions required. In its own internal briefings, there is research that shows that the uncompetitive salaries and the expectations being placed on teachers and principals are making the job less attractive. A decline in teacher salaries relative to other professions, making teaching a less attractive option for high-achieving students. These are all direct quotes from the government's internal research and evidence base. We're asking the government to act on its own advice.
I certainly wouldn't begrudge a hard-working teacher trying to get a pay rise, that's for sure. But you want a pay rise of between 5 to 7.5% for your members. That's well above inflation, and it's much more than a lot of people are getting out there at the moment. Are you willing to come down a little on that? I mean, are you expecting that full amount?
Well, that's informed by an independent inquiry which investigated the changed nature of teachers and principals' work for over 12 months. That inquiry brought down its recommendations earlier this year, and they showed that teachers' salaries had declined 10 to 15% against when compared to other professions. This is to restore relativities in order to ensure that we can attract into teaching the teachers we need. If we don't pay teachers what they're worth, we won't get the teachers we need.
Okay, are you going to be striking further beyond today?
Well, this is now in the hands of the Premier. The Premier styles himself and wants to be known as the family Premier. The best thing the Premier can do is deal with this issue, deal with this crisis, because if you don't care about teacher shortages, you don't care about kids. Kids are missing out today. There are classes every single day throughout the course of this year that are being split, merged or minimally supervised because of the unavailability of teachers. Teacher shortages have doubled between June and October this year. The government can no longer deny this issue.
Okay, what's your message to those parents who only just got back to work and now they've got to stay at home today and look after their kids?
Well, it's not ideal, is it? And it's certainly regrettable. But for 18 months, we've been pursuing this matter with the government and senior officials of the department for 18 months. It's not ideal, and we recognise the disruption. But I'll tell you this disruption will pale in insignificance when compared with the disruption of not having a teacher in front of your kid's class.
Fair enough. Okay, Angelo, appreciate your time. Thanks for talking.
Thanks, Peter. Appreciate it.